The Downhill World Cup in Ligier was one of the hardest races I've ever had the pleasure of watching. It's not just because it's wet and slippery.
Oh, my balls!
There's a lot of nuance and factors that combine and compound to make just completing a run without a colossal error almost an insurmountable challenge. We covered it in our excellent Inside the Tape video, but if I was to give you the digestible bullet points, they would be: the dirt in Ligier is super slick when wet. When it dries, it turns to glue, clogs bikes and drains riders' energy. When it's drying, you get both, as the tree sections don't dry and then you go from slick woods to sticky open, and it's so hard to anticipate the grip and speed required. I mentioned the trees, yeah? This is not a traditional bike park track. It's tech on that hill, and there are a lot of routes which are super slick. Usually, worn in bike parky World Cup track, the lines have developed to mitigate how sketchy they are. But this track has hundreds of meters of fresh loam with thousands of the tiny little spidery sniper routes that can take you down in a flash. Also, Ligier has some really flat sections which require carrying momentum and good fitness. A mistake going into one of those flat sections can easily lose a rider a second, and when it's sticky, that loss of momentum gets multiplied, easily losing 3, 4, 5 seconds and completely empties the rider's energy reserves. And the hardest bit of the track is the final woods right at the bottom, when you are absolutely blowing and need the strength and focus to nail it. Add those things together and you've got one of the hardest racetracks ever. The secret to besting these challenges: look up and stay loose. Simple in principle, but so difficult in practice. And when the trail is gnarly, all your brain wants to do is look at the hazards. Two things happen when you do that. You hit the hazard and you don't get your balance ready for the next line. Balance is linked to vision, so you have to look at where you need to go even though your brain does not want to. Similarly, staying loose when things are slick and tech, it's scary, and all your body wants to do is tense up and defend itself. If you tense up, you waste energy, and any slip of the bike transfers into the rider, which puts you off balance even further and usually into the ground. If you stay loose, let the bike slip and slide, usually it will find grip again, and then you can bring it back underneath you, as long as you've been looking ahead and are balanced correctly to put the wheel somewhere with grip. So that's easy. Anyone managed to do that? Not many, honestly. It was just that hard. The junior girls are a perfect example of that, as the top three all had massive errors on their runs despite being on their way to podium finishes. And it's just testament to how good the rest of the runs were. Fastest qualifier Cassandra Pizarrat was caught out by the slick routes on the upper slopes of her run, which immediately put mud on her grips, making the rest of her run an even bigger challenge. Despite that, she kept it consistent to slot into third position, which is her best ever result. Aletha Osgaard will be kicking herself after the race this weekend. She rode the top sections of the course with aggression and fluidity that wasn't expected from the American considering the conditions. She was clearly the fastest, but started to tire on the lower slopes and was noticeably less attacking. I'm not sure whether the fatigue affected her concentration, but on the very last double, after negotiating the entire super technical course, Aletha steered round the double going off track, which would have given her an instant disqualification. You might be thinking, but loads of riders were going around the jumps. What's wrong with doing it on this one? Every other jump had a defined beeline by having course markers up the slope to the side of the jumps. The last jump had no such markers. But I could see there was a muddy track going around the jump, you might say. Yes, there was. People rode around it during practice when there was no risk of disqualification from going off track. But it was off track. And I agree that these course markers make it so hard to see where the course is in certain situations. But riders are going to have to be diligent and figure out where is the track and ask questions if they're not sure. Luckily, Aletha realised and pushed back, correcting her mistake and securing herself another second place spot. Unlike Eliana Hulsbach, who after having a heartbreaking crash on the first turn, also mistook the ride around for being part of the track, which earned her a disqualification. So the winner, Rosa Zierl. She was gifted the win by the mistakes of others. Absolutely not. She rode that track with smooth precision, cleaning the tech sections and expertly negotiating the gnarly steeps before taking a line I don't think anyone else did. She bobbled before the canyon gap, didn't have enough speed for it, jumped off and clambered up onto the beeline without wasting too much time. Honestly, it was the cleanest Plan C execution I've ever seen, and her quick thinking got her another win. In the junior men, Tyler Waite had a close one in qualifying, just sneaking into the finals, first man on the hill, and he redeemed himself on race day, clearing the track of all the rainwater and big puddles with a powerful run despite what must have been terrible vision. I love watching Tyler on a pedally section, as his desire is always on display as he buries himself on the pedals, putting his whole body into it, and it was worth it because he finished just in front of Ollie Clark until Alran in third place. Asa Vermette really impressed me today with his riding in the conditions that he's really not comfortable with. I think if you were to add up the total time he had his foot off and compare it against his finish time, he would definitely win the fastest tripod of the day award. It's usually not as fast and it's more fatiguing to constantly be swinging a leg, but it gave him the confidence to get off the brakes, let it run, and he rode the rest of it super smart, with some really savvy lines, and he scored another second place. But Max Alran didn't take his foot out. He didn't need to. Asa merely adopted the French mud. Max was born and molded by it. He didn't see the dust till he was already a man.
Oh, your buddy!
Going delirious. The run was just that good, honestly. It was a run for the ages. It looked easy, and yes, it was faster than the elite men later in the day, but conditions changed quite a lot, so we won't go there. It's really a statement to the other junior riders though. 11 seconds clear of the next fastest rider and a boatload of confidence should things get biblical again. In the elite women, I honestly thought Valley was going to do it. She looked good in practice, really back to how I'm used to seeing her ride, with style and pizzazz like very few can do well, especially in those conditions. Valley was actually the fastest elite woman on the hill at the halfway point, and it was looking like she should extend her lead on that tricky lower slopes. But it was like she suddenly realised it was really difficult and got really cautious and careful, which meant she didn't crash and arrived cleanly to the bottom, but it lost her a lot of time, and was the reason that she finished in third and not first. I would love to tell you about Marine's run, but didn't see much of it in the live feed. She did look good out the start gate though, and appeared to be doing pretty good in terms of fitness, as she was third fastest on that pedally bottom jump section. But as far as the rest of it goes, luckily, I remoted into our videographer's NAS who's on site and saw there was one clip of her on the final steeps from her race run. She made it happen. It doesn't have to be pretty, you just gotta get it to the line. Mega impressive that she got second for her first race back since breaking her back. Bloody good effort, Marine. Now, here's an enigma for you. Gracie Hemstreet has quite often said she doesn't go well in the wet. Also, she's a very light rider and usually struggles with the flatter sections of track that require a good bit of power. Now here's one of the wettest tracks with some of the most energy-sapping sticky flat sections going, and not only does she absolutely grease it through those wet tricky sections, she gets the fastest bottom sector on the pedally bottom straight. What? Her riding the tech wet really well I can understand, but fastest pedally split? How? Oh, she went round the jumps. Cool, mystery solved. Well, she went round them with intention and precision. Hitting a jump is usually always faster, but if you have to pull up a lot and then you case it, all your forward momentum just disappears. Choosing to go around worked really well for Gracie, and the way she did it so cleanly won her that race. And now it's neck and neck in this series with her and Valley, which is just going to be such a cool battle for the rest of the year. I can't wait. Andy Kolb sure does love a soggy léger. He was second here last year in the stinking rain. I really thought he might win this year with his blistering run. He looked comfy and relaxed. The bike was sliding this way and that way, but he did not look fazed. And at one point, he was within a second of the win. But he lost some momentum at the bottom to finish 3 seconds back. Steezy crashed too. But was it the line on the inside on those steeps that lost him that time? Martin Mays. I mean, did you see? Right? Can someone just get that man a jersey that fits him? Honestly, if I can do it, anyone can. Absolutely insane ride from Martin this week. We knew he was good in the wet after his performance in Poland at the start of the year, but this felt like a real, proper downhill track, which makes this result so much more real. And he did it on flat pedals. What? Even lifelong flat pedal diehards struggled to make flats work at the World Cup, so to see someone make the switch and almost take the win was seriously cool. Second place for Martin and a reluctant nod of approval from Sam Hill. Did you know that a Frenchman has won every single downhill World Cup since Liège since 2000 and something, long time ago? They nearly did it again today, but Amaury Pierron went into a corner, double the speed of anyone else, bottomed out all of his suspension and did a cartwheel while 2 seconds up on the splits. That opened the door for one of the biggest characters in downhill, Ronan Dunn. Set fire to that soggy track, which just shouldn't be possible. He was feet up and flowing through the entire top woods. He had clean lines to stay out of the holes and carry speed. He really pieced together an amazing run and was the deserving winner on the day. Amazing race to watch. I don't think it was the decider, but that Breeden inside, the one that Kolb did, I just had to check if it was faster.
So let's compare Andy Kolb on the inside to Ronan Dunn on the outside. Andy dives into that inside line, super direct, super fast. Ronan's coming around the outside. Is he going to have extra speed into the corner to catch him up? Doesn't look like it. And Andreas takes 1.2 seconds out of Ronan on that section. So Andreas must have lost a lot of momentum on that final pedally straight.
Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this format of myself working remotely and Charlie getting the goods on the hill. Hope it worked out. Let us know what you think down in the comments and we'll see you at World Champs next week. I didn't wake up my kids. Unbelievable. They're heavy sleepers.